Marcus Aurelius once said, "Love as if you could never lose anything. Sometimes all it takes is a glance. Suddenly your heart skips a beat." Have you ever stood before a woman and felt like the entire world just froze, but then let the moment slip away because you thought she was out of your league? Don't walk away just yet, because here's the truth. Women don't fall in love at first sight, but they never forget the man who made them feel something real. And here's the beautiful part. You don't need tricks. You don't need to be someone you're not. All it takes is approaching her with a calm heart and unwavering confidence. Marcus was right, love, as if you have nothing to lose when you live that way. You awaken something in her. A flicker of curiosity sparked by a look, a quiet gesture, the start of a deeper connection. Welcome to Stoic Love, where love isn't born from noise or chaos, but inner strength. If you've ever missed out on love because you approached it the wrong way, don't worry. This video will change everything. Are you ready to step into something new? Let's begin. Just pause for a moment and think. You sent the message, the kind that feels like tossing a bottle into the sea, only to be met with silence. Or maybe you stood there right in front of her heart, pounding words rising, but fear held them hostage. Love can feel like smoke within sight, but impossible to hold. But here's a truth most men never see. Silence isn't always rejection, that distant look. Sometimes it's a quiet challenge, an invitation without words asking, will you show up real or fade like the rest? Women rarely open their hearts quickly, but deep down they long for someone strong enough to step past their walls, not with charm, but with calm, not with noise, but with presence. Ryan Holiday. Ide said, "The obstacle is the way, and that silence, that distance is the way. If you can walk through it without needing her approval, your energy will linger long after you've gone." So today, we begin from that space. Stay here with me, because what's coming next isn't just strategy. It's soul work. Lesson 1, use mystery to attract her. 15 hours to 20 hours. Have you ever noticed in the movies that to stay with us, the longest, the most captivating character isn't the one who talks the most, it's the one who holds something back. Mystery doesn't just spark curiosity, it leaves a mark. Even after you're gone, you stay in her mind. Let's be honest. If you master the art of being mysterious, she won't be able to take her eyes off you in love. Attraction doesn't come from revealing everything. It comes from becoming an unopened book, one that invites her to turn the pages. This Stoic lesson shatters a modern myth. Seneca once said, "A wise man remains silent until the right moment. Don't lay it all out, let her wonder about you." Maybe you've been there, rushing to tell her everything about yourself, thinking that's how the real connection is built. We grew up in a world that celebrates openness so much that we forget it's often what we don't say that lingers. When you reveal too much, too soon, you become predictable, like a novel. She's already finished. Women are more perceptive than you think. They can instantly feel the difference between real openness and someone just trying to score points. And once they sense that the magic fades, Alain Baton wrote in Essays in Love, "Love is born from the gaps that imagination fills, and the right silence is one of those sacred gaps." Why does mystery have such power? First, it sparks curiosity, and curiosity is where all passion begins. Second, it signals confidence. You don't need to overshare to earn validation. Third, it gives her something to discover, and when discovery happens, slowly emotional investment builds. Naturally, Elizabeth Gilbert once said, "Mystery is the flame that lights the heart." And lastly, mystery makes you unpredictable, which means she'll stay hooked, not just intrigued for a moment. The right amount of distance creates magnetism. If you reveal everything, you take away her chance to earn your story, to feel special for uncovering your layers. But if you let her in little by little, she'll step into your world willingly without you having to chase. Mystery is also how you show depth. Someone who keeps a piece of themselves private is often someone with a rich inner life. Someone who doesn't exist just to be understood. Psychology has proven ambiguity triggers exploration. When she doesn't know everything about you, Her imagination fills in the blanks, and that's far more powerful than any carefully written bio. So be the book. She hasn't finished reading the melody that fades before the last note. The painting with just enough color to leave her wondering. Today, write down 3 things you'll keep for yourself, maybe a dream, a past pain, or a personal ritual. Decide when the right moment is to share them, and ask yourself, how will you protect that flame of mystery so love doesn't burn out too soon? Lesson 2, act like you're the prize. 10 to 15, picture yourself walking into a room. People don't remember you for what you said, they remember how it felt. When you walked in, love works the same way. It's the energy you bring that creates lasting attraction. If you carry yourself like you are the prize, she won't be able to resist your presence in love. Don't act like she's doing you a favor by talking to you. Don't treat her like the grand prize you have to win. That's not the truth. You are the prize. Seneca once said, "A person who lives in alignment with themselves is never shaken." This is the biggest mindset shift you need, but one most men never make. Think about it. Have you ever chased someone just because the world told you that's what men are supposed to do? Movies, music, and media all program you to believe she holds all the value, and you have to prove yourself worthy. But when you operate from that belief, women feel it instantly. Alan Bourne wrote in Essays in Love, "We fall in love with those who don't need us to shine. Even good women won't respect desperation." Once you recognize your value, your energy shifts. You stop overthinking what to say, stop trying too hard to impress, and stop looking for validation. You just show up, grounded, certain, fully aware of what you bring to the table. Psychology shows that women are attracted to authentic confidence, not flash. Elizabeth Gilbert wrote in Eat, Pray, Love. You must become the person you want to fall in love with. That kind of energy, it radiates. Women are drawn to men who respect themselves, not with arrogance, but with standards. You're not chasing her. You're evaluating whether she fits into your life. Stop thinking, "I hope she likes me," and ask yourself, "Do I even like her?" That tiny shift puts you back in control. Real confidence doesn't shout, it doesn't need to. It's quiet, it's calm, it doesn't seek proof, because it already knows its worth. Here's the harsh truth. Women are constantly approached by men who act like they just won the lottery for getting her attention. But when you walk in with the mindset that you're the gift and you stand like an unshakable mountain, she feels it, she may not say it, but she'll show up to prove she's worthy of you. And this isn't about ego, it's about balance. Don't put her on a pedestal. She hasn't earned. The moment you carry yourself like the prize, the game flips. So here's your next move. Write down 3 qualities you're proud of. Maybe it's your perseverance and your kindness, or a time you overcame something tough. Look in the mirror and say, "I am the prize." Then ask yourself, how will you shine today so that love comes looking for you? Lesson 3, see her value, not just her beauty. 5 to 10, in a world obsessed with appearances, where beauty is praised on social media, where filters, lighting, and angles blur reality, it's easy to forget what truly matters. Inner value is what touches the heart for real. The truth is, real attraction doesn't come from a pretty face. It comes from the unseen gem, the internal worth you carry. Looks might turn her head, but only depth will keep her heart. Seneca once said, "Your true worth lies in what no one can take from you." This Stoic lesson is about showing up with your substance, the kind that speaks to her soul, not just her eyes. Imagine this, you're strolling through the park and notice a beautiful woman reading a book. Your heart skips a beat, but instead of rushing over with, "You're so beautiful," you pause and observe. You notice how absorbed she is, how each page seems to pull her in. You walk over with a smile. She looks up. "Why are you smiling?" You reply, "I just really admire the way you lose yourself in that book. It's rare." And in that moment, her eyes soften because you saw her passion, not just her appearance. Why does this work? Because women are far more intuitive than you think. They sense instantly when you're only captivated by the surface, and it makes them retreat. They long to be seen for something deeper. Their fire, their thoughts, their quiet resilience. Alan de Botton wrote in Essays in Love, is the art of seeing into another soul. That's what a true connection is made of. Surface beauty might open the door, But authenticity is what unlocks the heart, Brown once said. In daring greatly, vulnerability is our greatest measure of courage. When you show up aligned with your values, kindness, integrity, patience, she'll feel it, not because you're trying to flatter her, but because you're speaking to what matters most. So here's a simple challenge for today. Write down 3 values you're proud of, maybe honesty, maybe that one time you helped someone without expecting anything in return, because when you recognize the gem inside yourself, you'll start to notice it in her too. Ask yourself, which part of your inner value will spark a connection today? Stay with me, because the next lesson will shift your entire perspective on attraction and change the way you see love forever. Lesson 4. Approach without seeking approval. 20 to 25. Have you ever paused and asked yourself, if I walked up to her today without needing her to like me, would that make me weaker or stronger? In a world addicted to likes, follows, and constant validation, the man who needs nothing becomes the one everyone notices. Picture this: you approach her, not with desperate energy, not with a need to be liked, but with a calm, quiet confidence, like a free breeze, moving through the room. In love, attraction isn't born from waiting for her approval. It's born from the certainty that you are already enough. This stoic principle shatters the lie we've been fed. Seneca once wrote, "The free man is the one who does not wait for approval from others, and a free heart, that's something women cannot resist." Remember the last time you waited for a reply from a girl. That moment when you checked your phone 5 times in 2 minutes, only to see nothing. Here's the truth. That moment wasn't her rejecting you, it was you rejecting yourself by placing your worth in someone else's hands. Society taught you wrong. It said, your value lives in her. Yes, but every time you seek approval, you dim your light. Alain Bon once wrote, "Love arises from the freedom of the soul, and freedom begins the moment you stop needing anyone else to prove your worth is real." Here's the beauty: when you approach without needing her to like you, you radiate an energy that can't be faked, the energy of someone who is already whole. And whether she admits it or not, women are drawn to that. Psychologists call it internal validation, the ability to hold your power regardless of external reactions. It's the energy of a mountain rising above the waves. On the flip side, if you approach thinking, I hope she likes me, then you've already handed your power away. You're no longer the leader in the interaction. You've become reactive, fragile, no longer grounded in yourself. Ryan Holiday, a day, said it best: in the obstacle is the way, right action is the reward in itself. So act not because you crave a response, but because it aligns with your truth. That is the essence of awakened masculinity. And if she doesn't like you, so what? No damage, no loss, not a single crack in your self-worth. You're simply moving one step closer to the woman who can see your value. That's not rejection, that's natural selection, a process that saves your energy from being wasted on someone who wasn't meant for your story. Here's the truth. Attraction isn't about how you win her heart. It's about how you don't lose your own in the process. So let your free spirit move with power. Write down 3 values you're proud of, perseverance, integrity, or maybe a dream you've never let go of, and say to yourself, I approached not to be accepted, but to share my truth. And remember, love isn't born from begging, it's born from freedom. Lesson 5, flirt boldly. Then pull back 25 to 30. There's something that makes her heart skip, and it's not the constant presence, it's the perfect appearance, followed by the perfect disappearance, like a flash of lightning across the sky, gone in an instant but unforgettable in its wake. Think about that moment when someone's heart skipped a beat because of you, not from grand gestures, but from a subtle glance, a flicker of interest, like a spark in the dark. In love, attraction isn't built by giving it all. It's created through bold flirtation, followed by intentional withdrawal. This stoic lesson shatters another common myth. Seneca once said, the wise man preserves a fire so that it may burn long. Wisdom isn't in how much you give, it's in what you hold back, leaving her wanting more. Now imagine you're the guy who's always there, texting back instantly, endlessly, complimenting her, showering her with attention. like she's your entire world, what happens? Your presence stops feeling like fire and starts feeling like a blinding neon light, predictable, overwhelming, and eventually forgettable. Women are more intuitive than you think. They don't just hear your words, they feel the energy behind them. And when you're always available, never creating space, you take away the one thing that keeps them curious: uncertainty. So flip the script, flirt boldly with intentional eye contact, a clever teaser moment that makes her laugh because you saw something no one else did. Then pull away like a faint fragrance that lingers in the air, enough to make her pause and look for you. Alain de Botton wrote, "Love arises from silences filled with promise, be that silence presents, but mysterious psychology proves it. We chase what we can't fully grasp, give it all too soon, and you become a cheap gift, hold something back, and you become an unopened mystery." Elizabeth Gilbert. Once aid mystery is the fire that lights the heart. It's not about playing games, it's about understanding that real magnetism comes from deliberate interruption. And this is where the dynamic flips. The moment you pull away at the right time, she starts thinking about you. Why did he stop? Does he like me? Did I miss something important? You've just planted a loop in her mind, and that loop makes her start chasing in her thoughts, in her feelings, and sometimes in the first message she sends. This isn't manipulation, this is mastery of human nature. When you withhold just a bit of light, others move closer, desperate to see it more clearly, and when you flirt boldly, then disappear. You don't just leave an impression, you leave an echo lesson. 6. Challenge her. Instead of just complimenting her, 30 to 35, there's a type of man a woman never forgets. Not the one who flatters her all the time, but the one who dares to challenge her at the right time, the one who respects her without indulging her. Think about the power of standing firm in who you are, not complimenting just to please, but soaring like a free bird guided by confidence and intelligence in love. Attraction doesn't come from endless, easy praise. It comes from boldness, the kind that sparks curiosity by challenging her mind. Seneca once said, "The wise man is not afraid to ask questions in pursuit of truth than in love." The wise man isn't afraid to challenge the person in front of him to uncover what's real. Have you ever thought, maybe I should compliment her to win her over? Maybe you believe saying, "You're so beautiful," or "I love your smile." It would be enough to get her attention. But what happens, the more generic praise you offer, the more forgettable you become, like a song stuck on one note, predictable, easy to hear and easy to ignore. Women can sense when compliments are given just to win favor, and when they feel that the attraction dies, they're not looking for someone who agrees with everything they say. They're drawn to the man who says, "I'm not sure about that," and sparks a deeper conversation. Alan Bond once wrote in Essays in Love, "Love is a dialogue between curious minds." Love doesn't grow in the garden of sugar-coated cliches. It grows in the soil of intellectual stimulation. That's where you come in, the man who's not afraid to challenge a thought, ask a question, or offer a new perspective. You don't need to disagree to prove strength, but you also don't need to bend just to be liked. Maybe it's a light disagreement, a curious look followed by, "Do you think that?" What if we flip the idea? You're not attacking, you're sparking her mind. Psychology backs. These women aren't just attracted to appearance, they're drawn to the man who makes them think. Ryan Holiday, I once said, "Truth is the flame that leads, not flattery. And when you dare to speak your truth, you stand out like a beacon in a sea of hollow approval." But remember, challenging isn't confrontation. It's a refined dance of contrast, of holding your ground while still respecting hers. And she'll notice you're not trying to win her over. You're giving her the space to rediscover herself through the way you see the world. And in that space, you become a man of depth, the man of substance, and the man she can't ignore. Let your wings of freedom rise. Today, write down 3 ways you can offer a gentle challenge, a question, a personal belief, or a different perspective you've been holding back. Then choose to speak them, not to win, but to connect with the truth, because love doesn't arise from agreement. It's born from the courage to be different. And if you've stayed with me to the end, there's something I need you to hear. Not everyone makes it this far. Not everyone has the patience to sit with discomfort. Not everyone dares to face themselves in a world full of illusions, noise, and desperate craving for validation. But you're still here, and that means you're already different. Maybe you haven't changed everything today, but a seed was planted, a new thought, a different perspective, a deeper question about who you are and how you live, how you love. That's the real beginning. And if something in this video spoke to you, don't keep it locked inside. Share your thoughts in the comments, because when you speak your truth, you're not just defining yourself. You're letting someone else out there know they're not alone. And if you want to keep walking this path, the path of growth, awakening, and loving with strength, hit subscribe, not for me. For you, because you deserve to be reminded every single day you are the prize, not the one begging for a chance. And if you found value in this video, share it with someone, because maybe, just maybe, you'll be the reason someone else wakes up today. We'll meet again in the next lesson, where there's no illusion, only truth, freedom, and a love that begins from within.